Ugh, car insurance. Everybody hates paying it right up until you're involved in an accident and have to make a claim. But with rocketing car insurance premiums around the world, is there any way to hack the system and save a lot of money? Yes, I've got some solid tips and tricks up my sleeve. Well, no sleeves today, but first it's really important to understand this. The first and most obvious thing to point out is that life is not fair. If you have the benefit of youth on your side right now, the unfortunate truth is that you are statistically more likely to be involved in an accident. Therefore, your insurance premium will be, some might say, quite rightly higher than those with more time and experience behind the wheel. But if you're a relative newbie to the world, the good news is that if you don't die in the meantime, you'll get old too and benefit from cheaper car insurance as your body gradually decays beneath you. There's something to look forward to. In fact, I'll share even more good news about transport and reaching old age later in the video. Here's some basic but important info on how insurance premiums work. It might seem like insurance premiums are pulled out of a giant bottom, but insurance quotes are priced based on risk. Insurance companies make massive statistical calculations that look at individuals' data, which then gets plugged into their giant insurers' calculators, which ask the question, what is the risk, based on your circumstances. All these things, plus some outright darker, disgraceful calculations, which I'll get to in a minute, will determine your car insurance quote. Your occupation, your annual mileage, your address, how much voluntary excess you're willing to pay, the make and model of your vehicle, whether you've modified your car, where you park your car overnight, your age, your driving history, including no claims discounts, whether or not you've added any named drivers to your policy, the type of cover you're taking out. Now, a lot of these things are set in stone, unchangeable, factual. Your age, for example, is non-negotiable. You cannot be age fluid and whimsically decide your age on a day-to-day basis. What else is a ridiculous idea to suggest fluidity? Man, I just can't put my finger on it. Unless you are willing to go to the extreme measures of occupation change for the sake of slightly cheaper car insurance, that's pretty much unalterable too. But you can play around with legit occupation titles and industries. For example, my wife and I are musicians, and the only industry that we fit into is the entertainment industry, renowned for ridiculous insurance prices. It's been a bit brutal over the years, but now I'm older, it's a bit better. However, changing my wife's title to singer rather than choosing musician saves 12% on our insurance premium. How do I know that, you might be wondering? I'll share in a moment where to go to compare insurance quotes and get really useful tips and tricks to save you money as you fill in your details. I was so pleased to stumble across this valuable resource, and I have no doubt it'll be eye-opening for you too. This is all pretty obvious stuff, but feel free to take a snapshot and consider what's adjustable for you. If the goal is cheaper car insurance, what are you willing to change? The amount you drive perhaps, your vehicle type, more excess for a cheaper quote? Or just suck it up, buttercup, get yourself a Cybertruck and have an insane amount of fun alongside an insane insurance premium. But here's a warning, changing details between quotes could invalidate your insurance. Small tweaks to your mileage or job title are likely to be okay, but no matter how tempted you are to say someone else is the main driver, or to pretend you have no points, or to underestimate your annual mileage deliberately to get a lower premium, don't. You must be completely honest, or it could invalidate your insurance and even lead to prosecution. Not worth the risk. What is worth doing is looking at some counter-logical hacks for bringing down your car insurance premium. Check these out. Adding an older driver, mum, dad or uncle for example, does bring down the average age of drivers on the policy, so could well lower your premium too. Seems a bit daft, but it's working for lots of people. You might want to give that a go. Next up, sometimes fully comprehensive insurance can be cheaper than third party simply because the type of people who select fully comprehensive policies can be deemed to be lower risk than the type of people that select third party policies. Bonkers! So don't assume that third party will be cheaper than fully comprehensive insurance. Always check when getting quotes. Here's the craziest car insurance hack. Get quotes 21 to 27 days before the renewal date. Earlier or later, you will likely average higher quotes. This is because, according to those data-based insurer generators, those that leave getting quotes till the last minute are deemed to be a high risk, therefore pay more. Ugh, that's just so unfair, but many folks have reported a third or even a half off their quotes. I tested this too and can confirm a massive difference. My quotes were floating around £1,200 a few weeks ago, but with that golden 24 days before renewal, I was getting into the £700 range. That's for my 5-year-old Tesla Model 3 that covers both my wife and I. If you try all of these things, make adjustments to your policy and do all you can to play the game and show insurance companies that you are a low-risk customer, you'll get the best possible price for your circumstances. For me, I'll be sticking with Churchill Car Insurance as it's the cheapest quote I could find at £682, up from £570 the year previous. There's also quite a discount if paying up front, but switching to a monthly payment will make the cost more manageable. There's a lot of talk about EVs being much more expensive to insure than traditional internal combustion engine cars, but after a quick quote for a newer version of my old car, a Mini Countryman S All-4, this came out more to insure than my Tesla. Perhaps it's because it's a hybrid. What do you think? And of course, it's easy to find ludicrous quotes for EVs, just as it's always been easy to rack up insane quotes for any car. My friend about fainted when he received his renewal for his Tesla Model 3 Performance, which came in at £5,100, a jump from around £600 the year before. After a few sleepless nights, his same insurance company re-quoted £626. How can they do that? But don't panic if this happens to you. Have a good shop around, go through the tips I've given you in this video, and see what you come out with. Here's something that will make you feel either glad or sad about your personal situation. According to Bankrate, the average cost of car insurance in the US is typically around $2,278 per year. But if you live in New York, it's over $8,000 per year. At what point do you just get taxis or hire a car when needed? That's nuts. Even the cheapest states for car insurance in America charge an average of $1,500 per year. The national average for UK car insurance is £810. The national average for Australian car insurance is $1,900 Australian dollars. No doubt wherever you are in the world, your car insurance has increased, but why is that? This is supposedly because cars have become more expensive to buy and thus more expensive to repair. Cars are now more complex and sophisticated. A small ding that might have once sent you to the panel beaters for a straightforward repair now requires fixing and testing the complex sensors that are used for navigation and safety systems. And with EVs, there's extra safety checks needed for battery damage, amongst other things. Hybrid cars, being both internal combustion engines and a mini EV, if you like, with teeny batteries, may be more expensive to insure than you think because of its, I'd say, unnecessary complexity. They cost more to fix in parts and in labour. Remember, a fully electric car has fewer moving parts, so they come with less ongoing maintenance costs. In fact, there's only about 20 moving parts in an electric car compared to nearly 2,000 in an internal combustion engine vehicle. That's a lot less wear and tear. And as prices continue to fall for EVs, mass adoption continues, like in the world's largest automotive market, China, where 50% of new cars sold are now electric. Everywhere else is on that trajectory too. So in theory, as electric cars become much cheaper to manufacture and sell, so too should repairs thanks to a more plentiful supply of parts, which should lead to cheaper car insurance too. There is hope. Inflation has raised repair costs, meaning insurers have to cover higher costs when customers make a claim. Additionally, we're driving more than ever, which increases our likelihood of an accident. Even climate change means we're more at risk of being exposed to a natural disaster like wildfire or a flood. Even the energy crisis has impacted the cost of car insurance as repair shops and garages have increased overhead costs for electricity and so forth. It's all a bit of a bummer really, isn't it? A perfect storm of problems to whack your insurance up to almost the point that it feels like people are being priced out of driving altogether. A bunch of unfortunate random events or deliberate action to price people out of their cars. I'm swaying towards random events, but in this day and age, nothing would surprise me anymore. I'd highly recommend Money Saving Expert to search for cheaper car insurance, plus give you masses of bespoke tips to help you along the way. So give it a go and let me know. There's a link in the description below. Remember I mentioned earlier about having something to look forward to in old age? Assuming you're going to be around for the next few years, autonomous robotaxis are closer than people might think and will transform public transport to make it inexpensive, convenient, hassle-free and safe. Tesla, if you didn't know, have been working on the only scalable solution for autonomy, which is vision-only based, using just a suite of cameras and a computer within each vehicle. If you want to know more, there's plenty of videos covering this on my Tesla Jigsaw channel, but the good news is future generations, kids of today, retired folk, won't need the burden of their own car and all the crazy costs associated with it. Do you miss your horse and cart? Of course not, you never had one. The same will be true in the future. When we look back at these incredibly dangerous death traps driven by descendants of apes that kill and severely injure millions of people each year, mostly because of inattention and human error. as much as I love driving, I want technology in all vehicles to avoid accidents at all costs. This will require a rethink into the risks of driving. I know that's a big can of worms to get into now, so let's not. Here's a nice story for you though. California's got a fun energy problem to solve. Check it out next. I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you Patreons and thank you for watching. Bye for now.